What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for rocking out with the Millionaire Morning Show. We rocking out today, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, February 13th, 2023, year of our Lord. We are here. We are kicking it. I don't really like the color of how things are. Hold on, let me make some adjustments real quick. See if things fix like that. I like it a little better. Let me see if I can change the tint, the temperature. No, I don't like that. Let's keep that. No. Don't like that. That's cool. I like that a little better. There we go. All right, so we cool. If you know how I'm getting around in here, if you've been following me for any extended period of time, you know that I'm out here on my skates. I'm on my skates. And so when I'm in the office, I am skating around, and that's how I get from point A to point B much quicker. When I come down to the studio, specifically, I go and park my car further away. And then I walk to the studio, I catch the queue line, I catch the bus. I'm very much immersed in what's going on in the city. And one of the reasons why I do that is because I believe that you get to see things that you wouldn't normally see when you're getting around and you're being a lot more mobile versus just being in your car. What I've noticed from a lot of people is that they own a phone a lot. When I was on a motorcycle, when I first bought my first motorcycle, I would notice that people are on their phone a lot. I mean, a whole lot. And it was absolutely wild. Like, they wouldn't even see you or none of that type of stuff. So one of the reasons why I like being downtown is because I can live, work, and play all in the same area, and I can become more immersed in what's going on in the culture. But anyways, without further ado, let me see what's happening in the chat. Big Sug says, greetings, peeps. Well, first of all, let me give an acknowledgement to the first super chat. Janesta Coleman hit me with the 10 ball, and she says, "Good afternoon, brother Anton Daniels and family. Blessed week. Have a blessed week ahead." Thank you, Janesta. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding us down. Thank you for being the first super chat and supporting the platform and what it is that we do here. You are very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you to everybody that hold us down and be able to contribute to the platform. I got a full show ahead. Shout out to my dog Kojak is in the building. Hey Kojak, I might need to hit you up, bro, because I'm building a set of houses. Major flex, right? Anton sitting here with his Apple Watch on talking about forget all of that stuff. Let's go ahead and build a set of houses. I got a full show about the Millionaire Morning Show today. We gonna absolutely kick it today. Kojak, I know that you are the best architect in the city, and I'd rather spend money with my people than give it out to other people. I'd rather spend money with the bag chaser. So I got a bag for you, Kojak. I need you to design me a beautiful, beautiful set of houses that we are going to build inside of the Patreon together. Shout out to my bag chasers. Shout out to my Patreon members. I am going to take you along the journey because you know Anton likes to show the receipts, and we're going to do some great things. So Kojak, I'm going to get in touch with you, big dog. I need to get you this bag. Treese, Westmoreland, what's happening? Sir Shies in the building. What's going on? Florida Boy 727, I appreciate you. What's up, Empress? Said our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. That is absolutely, positively a great saying. I love it. I love it. I love it. Restrictions. What's happening? Taco Cruiser said, is skin bleaching popular? I hear it is. I hear a lot of people do it. It's just not talked about. It's one of the new things that's coming that's going to be popularized. You know how they did the BBLs? We're going to get into it. Kingdom Minded. What's up, babe? Randy. What up, Randy? Paris Johnson. What's happening? John, I appreciate you, big dog. Ed Hill says, how about them tribal chiefs? I'm going to be honest with you, Ed. I'm not really a football guy. I'm more of a basketball guy, so it doesn't really matter either way. The Alexander said, Back Chasers Unite. B Humbug or Bumbug said, what up, though? Brandy, I love you. Let's see who else we got. Vanny Rowe, I appreciate you. Prince Mark Anthony, what's happening? Says, just get straight into the video, bro. You don't tell me how to run my show over here, okay? Nobody tells us how it is that we do things. We have a certain way that we do it. And if you want to get into the video, then you will have to wait like everybody else. Okay, sir? And that is the nicest way that I'm going to put that because it is a Monday, and don't get me started on a Monday because y'all know how I get when I get started on my Mondays. Larry Walker, what up, though? Hero, hello, what's happening? And you cussing on a Monday? On the Lord's Day? I was playing gospel music on my way driving to work, and you up here cussing in my... Oh, my Jesus. Yes, I do have my skates on. I do get around. Y'all want to see what my skates look like? I don't do the skates that the Chicago people do. I do the real joints. So my skates is a little bit different. We from Detroit. We do it a little differently here in Detroit. What up, though? What's going on, Bella? What's happening? I see you, New Era, Sarah, everybody that's in the chat. I appreciate y'all. It is Monday. We're going to get to it. We're going to run the show like we run the show and not how people try to come in here and tell us how it is that we supposed to run our show. You know what I'm saying? Who going to come in here and tell us what it is that we supposed to do? So before we get started, again, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Bag Chasers, Patreon members, I just put up the webinar. A lot of people was telling me that the link to the webinar was not active. And so I uploaded it into my video player platform that I use exclusively for the Patreon. And so that is now available for you guys. I actually uploaded it yesterday, and then I released it this morning because I wanted to make sure that it was ideal for you and in its best settings. I spend roughly about $1,000 a year for my hosting platform just for specifically my videos because I don't do it like everybody else doing their Patreons. I don't just do unlisted and then put it on YouTube, and then I don't do that. Everything that we do is top notch. I got the site being developed in order for a better ideal experience so we can move the Bag Chasers over there within the next 60 days. We got exclusive content coming. I'm dropping 3 different videos this week just for Bag Chasers in order to ensure that you guys are successful. Actually 2 and 1 webinar. So we got to figure out what day we want to do the webinar because it's got to be ideal. This weekend is my daughter and my wife's birthday, so I'm taking them over to Disneyland and Disney World or whatever like that. So we're going to figure it out, Bag Chasers. We're going to figure it out. What else? Oh, make sure y'all tap into the Teach. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. More importantly, Make sure y'all tap into the Alpha Juice Company. And do not order it from the link until you get the discount code. That is Anton. Discount code is Anton. If you're spending $100 or more, it's Anton 10. $225 or more, it's Anton 25. Just to make sure you get the best price for whatever it is that you're ordering. Alpha Juice Company, it is phenomenal. In addition to me walking everywhere now, in addition to me skating, in addition to me going to the gym, I go to the gym down here in downtown Detroit. The thing that I'm leaning on the most as far as changing my lifestyle is the Alpha Juice Company. They say 21 days, or is it 30 days or more, you get you start to develop a habit. We rocking out with the Alpha Juice Company. It's absolutely awesome. Great. Make sure y'all tap into it. Patreon, so on and so forth. All right. Now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into the show. Okay. So first things first, and shout out to my dog, V. Scott, said pledging allegiance to the bag. He was here. We had Crimson here. I do want to give a special shout out and thank you. I have the exclusive interview with me and Crimson Cure. She was absolutely lovely. We had to take care of our baby. Thank you, Crimson, for coming over from Chicago. We had to make sure that you were well accommodated. I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody that was on the panel. Thank you for everybody that's a part of the Money and Relationships panel that we do. And we show on Saturday nights. And that was absolutely awesome. You said 66 days, Armstrong Consultants? Okay, well, we got a little bit more to go, and then we'll be at our habit phase. Okay, so before we get started, I want to back up for a minute, right? Because I want to talk about Super Bowl weekend, specifically about Michael Irvin. I want to get to this Vice panel, all right? But before we get started, I want to share a video with you guys, okay? And the reason why this video is so important is because I don't really think you understand what you're facing right now. And I've been hitting you every single day, trying to convince you guys to think differently about money, to think differently about wealth. This is called the Millionaire Morning Show. And we like to span a bevy of different topics. But more importantly, I want to figure out how it is that I can add value into you in addition to being entertaining, right? It's not just about the thing that's entertaining. It's the thing that adds the most value to our life. That's why we call ourselves bag chasers. Bag chasers are people that look to be the best versions of themselves, understanding that the money, the relationships, and everything great comes along with it. Character, growth, success, networking, all of those things matter. But more than anything, even the word of God said, in everything you do, you need to get understanding. And so I want to help you to understand why it's important, not only that you make a lot of money, but to be able to compartmentalize exactly what money means. Because there's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but it doesn't make them a better person. It's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but it doesn't fix their problems. Your problems become exponentially larger as a result of not really understanding how money works, right? When you owe the IRS, when you're making a whole lot of money, they coming for their money. You can't discharge that, right? When you owe a lot of money when it comes to student loans, you can't get rid of that. And it's a lot of people that's frustrated. And for the people that's looking from the outside in and they say, well, you make over $100,000 a year. How are you frustrated? I could fix all of my problems with that. If I hit the lottery, I could fix all of my problems with that. Well, it's because you don't truly understand how money works. So I want to share a video with you guys before we really, really deep dive into the show to make sure that I'm adding as much value as possible and that you can really leverage the information that I'm giving you in order to be successful. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen.
For an influx of defaulting payments as higher prices across the board force Americans to use credit cards. It comes as over half of Americans earning a six-figure salary report that they're actually living paycheck to paycheck. So to help us...
Half of Americans. Let's stop right there and let's take that in before we get into the video. More than half of Americans making over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I know that there's going to be a little bit of a debate here and there because I've heard it 1,000 times. Well, it's because they don't manage their money right. Well, it's because they truly are living above their lifestyle. You need to move into a smaller city or go into the suburbs instead of being in the city. Manhattan is crazy. Why would anybody live in New York? Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Philly, North Carolina, Charlotte, Miami, Houston, Dallas, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Raleigh, Los Angeles, Seattle, get out of those cities. I don't know. That's because they living above their means. That's because they trying to get all of the big cars, and they think that as soon as they get above six figures, they can go and get a BMW, so on and so forth. Let's take this in. January 30th, 2023, according to a study performed by Fortune magazine, more than half of Americans raking in $100,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I've noticed? Because I do a lot of coaching sessions. I do a lot of studying. I look at the numbers. It helps inform me to how it is that I'm going to invest. If you have not watched that video inside of the Patreon, go and watch it again. The 8 things that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a company. You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at a society that has been conditioned to believe that debt is good. You say it all the time to me. Hey, use other people's money to make money. You don't even know what that means. Let's continue into the article, and then we're going to get into it.
Break down all of this is Megan Lenhart. She's a senior reporter for Fortune magazine. Thanks for joining us. You know, a lot of people are going to hear you make $100,000 a year and you're living paycheck to paycheck. That seems like crazy talk, but it's actually happening. But we're going to get to that in a minute. First, I want to talk about what we're seeing the banks doing. The banks are bracing for putting money aside for people essentially defaulting on loans. What happens if a large number of people start to default on their payments, whether it's credit cards or their car payments or whatever it is?
Well, hey, I appreciate you having me this morning. I think that this is an important topic that we need to talk about over and over again in the coming year. Certainly last year and throughout the early days of the pandemic, since, the onset of the lockdowns.
Let's back up a little bit. Let's back up slightly because I actually want y'all to see that, all right? I want you to see what that looks like, okay? This is delinquent credit card loans. Americans are making more than they ever have in their entire lives. This is delinquent credit card loans. If you look over here to the right, it's actually on the upswing. If you look over to the right, it's starting to be on the upswing. This is based off of data that's provided from American Express, Discover, and Capital One. I recently did a video where I also released a clip where I showed y'all, and I actually showed y'all me on the application, how I canceled my American Express Platinum. What I seen in the comments is as a reflection of what it is that I see happening in society. Almost every single person, and I actually am a person that the amount of money that I make in my lifetime. My daughter is well taken care of. I literally just paid $163,000 in order to pay off the final mortgage of one of my investment properties. I have zero debt, zero credit card debt, zero student loan debt. I have zero mortgage debt. I have no debt. I just have assets. I have things that are continuously making me money on top of money, on top of money, on top of money, on top of money. And when I said, I don't need this. The only thing I need is one credit card. I got one credit card. The one credit card that I have is a Marriott card. It's a Chase Marriott card because it allows for me to be able to make sure that I'm reserving my rental cars when I'm traveling. I can get my hotel when I'm traveling, so on and so forth. And since I have to have one in order to be able to fit what it is that I do from a travel perspective, because you can't rent a car without a credit card, I have to have it. But I literally have zero debt, and I showed y'all that too. I'm always showing the receipts. I see people in the comments sitting here, this is important for the points, and you got to get into the lounges and all of this other type of stuff. When are we going to reset? The data says that you wrong. The data says that everybody in the comments debating me about how it is that you need to be moving from a financial perspective is wrong. The data say you wrong. I put away all of the Rolexes. I drive my Hyundai every day just to show you that it's not as important as people think it is. Guess what happened when I started driving my Hyundai? Guess what happened when I put away all of the Rolexes? Absolutely nothing. Nobody not fucked with me. Nobody looked at me differently. My DMs is not popping as a result of the different chicks that's sending a shot trying to understand whether or not they can become a side chick. There is no shortage of anything that stopped happening as a result of me parking my car, walking into the office. People see me walking into the office and they have no different perspective about me whatsoever. Nothing happened. What are you afraid of? Why are you so afraid of making an adjustment and resetting and going back to the core thing that got you to the point that you are now, as far as the success aspect of it, not the lifestyle aspect of it, not the lifestyle creep that allows for you to continue to overpay for things to impress people that don't care nothing about you. What is the problem with people coming back to the front of the congregation and saying, you know what, maybe we need to hit the reset button and then get back to the basics? Nothing happened differently. I don't have to drive the S-Class in order to be able to do anything. I have it because it's a convenience and because I can afford it. And I've actually put myself in a position to where I actually have no debt whatsoever. To be honest with you, it's really a business car. And we use it as a driver. I got a specific designated driver that take my guests around when they come into town and they coming into the studio to film. The entire car is a tax write-off. I can still tell time. Is the Rolex an awesome timepiece that appreciates over time with value? Absolutely. But you don't need that in order to really be able to thrive. At some point, we have to pull back, start doing the thing that's in our own best interest, and stop focusing on the noise. The problem with people is not that the stuff is bad. It's that you can't focus when you get too many things, because then you become obsessed with the noise. The noise is the stuff that's distracting you from your purpose. And that's why it's important to reset every year, because then you can start to refocus on the things that actually matter. Networking, growth, spirituality, becoming a better person, character, relationships. The money is going to come anyway. The money comes with it. I didn't stop making money because I put the Rolex up. I didn't stop making money because I decided to not drive that car. You know how much I pay in insurance for those cars? I'm not even going to tell you how many cars I got at this point, because I don't want you feeling a certain type of way because you're like, oh, Anton is bragging. I don't even want to embarrass you like that. My insurance for the year is the equivalent of about $18,000 to $19,000 a year. Now, I live in a phenomenal county, right? Not in the within city limits. The address that I have is not within city limits, so I'm not being taxed on that. I have no accidents, no tickets, no nothing. Rita has no accidents, no tickets, no nothing. I'm 40, which means I'm way above the threshold in what it takes from an insurance perspective. So everything that I'm being charged is based off of the values of the cars. I pay the equivalent of about $19,000 a year in insurance just for my cars. My tax to renew those cars is about between $1,600 and $1,700 a year. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with maintenance. That don't have nothing to do with gas. If I decided to put gas in an S-Class, that don't have nothing to do with anything else outside of just owning the cars. And I don't have no car payments. So when you start to compartmentalize how fast $67,000 goes, and I'm not even talking about $100,000, because $100,000 is really $67,000, between $67,000 and $70,000 a year after taxes. If you are a single person living in any major city or outside of a major city, it'll vary between $67,000 and $70,000 a year. When you start to break that down from a mathematical perspective, as far as what it is that you're doing in order to impress people that don't care nothing about you, you still sitting on student loans, you still sitting on money you ain't paid your homeboy back, you still got credit card debt, and you sitting here talking to me about how it's important in order for you to leverage other people's money. No, you need to get back to basics, because you're not supposed to be in debt. And I'm trying to teach our culture and our people that, listen, we're not supposed to be indebted. We're not supposed to be owing people. We're not supposed to be in a space where we're paying people interest on the money just to be able to service the loan. We're supposed to be kings. We're supposed to be queens. Kings and queens don't move like that. We in a position of power. We become the lender, not the borrower. Let me say that again. You become the lender, not the borrower. People are supposed to come for you for assistance. It's not supposed to be the other way around. Let me play this a little bit longer, and then we're going to move over to the next story.
Last year and throughout the early days of the pandemic, since the onset of the lockdowns, we've seen that credit card delinquencies have been historically low. Mm-hmm. So now we're starting to see a ramp up period, given the inflation, given the economic environment that we've been in. We're going to start seeing, more people sitting there and saying, I can't pay my credit card at the end of the month. And of course, now I want to stress that, again, we've been in a historic historically low environment. I know TransUnion and other experts are predicting somewhere where we're going to go from about 2% to maybe about 2.6% this year. Now, granted, it's still much lower than some of those crazy high rates we saw during the financial crisis. Credit card delinquencies at that point were somewhere in the 3.2 range. So again, nothing too crazy, but that does obviously have ripple effects. We're already starting to see credit card companies, banks saying, you know what, we're going to tighten our lending standards. We're going to sit there and put a little bit more money on the books to make sure that we have enough to cover this if it becomes a problem.
Do you know why the banks always put money aside when they start to tighten up? Because I did a video that I dropped on a Millionaire Morning Show channel this morning. Last night I recorded it. I dropped this morning. And I told y'all that y'all need to start mimicking what is happening. Let me go ahead and move off of this particular article. I told y'all that y'all need to start mimicking what is happening in corporate America in order to really be able to leverage how it is that you got your resources and to make the most of your money, right? I told y'all this. I broke this down for y'all. And the reason why they start to make these adjustments is because they're able to look at key factors, indicators, and data. They don't just go based off of how they feel like most of us. They look at key factors, data, and indicators in order to determine what's going to happen. They know that the Fed is continuing to raise rates in order to fight inflation. They know that you are starting to fall into delinquency. They know that it's a possibility that student loans eventually, once it goes through the Supreme Court and Biden get his butt handed to him, I'm not going to curse. I was playing gospel music this morning. They know that eventually they're going to have to turn the student loan payments back on, and you've already adjusted your lifestyle in order to fit not having to pay your student loans because you hoping to be forgiven, and then some of y'all just don't care, right? They know that traveling is up despite the fact that it's a recession and there's a lot of layoffs coming because you've already booked that trip because you promised that girl that don't even like you and she got you listed as Trip in her phone that you was going to take her out just to possibly get some Gawk 3000, huh? Banks know that defaults will be on the rise. They see the standards. They look at more than just your credit score in order to determine whether or not you're capable of paying back a specific loan that they can give you, right? It's not your credit score. And I'm going to break this down in the Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon members. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. It's not your credit score that's going to determine whether or not you can get approved for that loan. You know what it is? It's your debt to income ratio. It's your credit utilization rate. There's other factors such as what is your house payment? How much longer do you have to pay on it? How much is your car payment? How many people are in your household? Do you own your home or do you rent? They ask you these questions and then they put it inside of a database that spits out basically insight and information to help them to understand of whether or not they need to start tightening up. Contrary to popular belief, they like people that have middling to bad credit. They just don't want to take the risk of giving it to you. And the reason why they like you is because they make more money from you because they can give you a higher requirement or charge you more interest for giving you money. That's why some of y'all is paying 25 and 26% on your credit cards because you really aren't supposed to have the credit card, but they wanted to take the risk because they know they're going to make a lot of money from you with the possibility of you defaulting. But by the time you default, they probably already made enough money to cover what it is that they gave you. So it's worth the risk. Everything is calculated. Everything is specifically tailored to making sure that they can extract every single dollar from you. Every single dollar. Don't do it. Let's make some adjustments. Let's do things differently. And let's get to this money. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Alpha Juice Company, we doing some great things in that. Make sure y'all tap into that. All right, so let's pivot for a minute. Let's talk about Michael Irvin, all right, before we get into this vice panel. Michael Irvin. So last week, and I seen this ending into the last week, but I didn't get a chance to get into it. And I said, you know what? This will be a part of my recap of what happened in Super Bowl weekend. We had Rihanna. She was dancing up there pregnant. We had what I thought was the Eagles were going to win because they were unstoppable in the first half. And then somehow, some way, the Kansas City Chiefs wound up winning. I cussed the guy out on Fight Club for trying to pose and recruit on the platform because I vetted him effectively and he tried to pretend like he was from Detroit and he really wasn't because I'm able to look at key indicators and we need to start vetting our leaders effectively. But more importantly, one of the things that really happened was Michael Irvin, right? And Michael Irvin, for all well, I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and share the article with you, and then we're going to break this down because this is very important, and this feeds into what it is that I've been talking about as far as Ohio State football players, guys getting accused and Me Too'd, and so on and so forth. And I think that this is a better example of how it is that we really, really need to start focusing a little bit more to protect ourselves and not be so easily distracted by all of the festivities and the things that's going on around us, okay? Let me share my screen with you guys in order for you guys to really, really be able to understand what's going on with Michael Irvin. Now, what you see here is what I would like to call a strong black man, all right? This is a man that is accomplished. He carries himself with dignity. He's held his job. He's largely been without any kind of scandal, problem, or trouble whatsoever. And Michael Irvin wound up filing a $100 million lawsuit against the accuser and Marriott. Now, this is why I think that this is important. This is one of the reasons why I want to emphasize this before we go into the Vice panel, okay? Let me read the article, and then we're going to break it down. TMZ Sports reports that Dallas Cowboys legend 45 is seeking over $100 million in damages, with his attorney claiming the former wide receiver is the latest victim of cancel culture. Now, if you're not familiar with it, Michael Irvin, for all intents and purposes, was removed from Super Bowl weekend as a result of being accused, not convicted, not evidence that was levied against him, not any of that, but he was accused of sexual misconduct over the weekend as a result. Now, fellas, I know a lot of y'all like to say, well, that's Michael Irvin. He's a big timer. He's a former Dallas Cowboys. He's famous. He's on the NFL Network. He says a lot of things that always paints him or puts him in a position to where people would come after him. And I had a conversation with a guy over the weekend about clout chasing and things like that. But we're going to get into that. Let me read a little bit more, and then we're going to go over it. And I'm going to give you my thoughts. He's been pulled from ESPN's and NFL Network's Super Bowl coverage in the aftermath of the alleged incident. After the first reports came out, the nature of the woman's allegations was unclear, and the local police reportedly had no knowledge of any wrongdoing on the broadcaster's part. TMZ Sports claims Irvin is now suing the hotel where he was staying ahead of the Super Bowl, 57 specifically, and its employee who made the complaint. Now, this was an employee. Stop the cap. This was allegedly an employee that worked at the chain that then accused Michael Irvin of sexual misconduct. Why you need to vet people more effectively, why you need to tap into the bag chasers, because I did a video on how it is that I'm able to vet people more effectively, okay? Because then these people become a representation of your company. Another reason why you need to get an LLC, separated from your own personal resources and what it is that you have within your bank account, your 401k, so on and so forth. All of that needs to be protected, because if you're going to do business, you want to separate it in order to limit the liability that you will personally have to be responsible for, because becoming a business owner then says that you have to start becoming liable for the people that work for you. One of the reasons why Anton likes to get contractors instead of actually hiring. Listen, if y'all not a bag chaser, if you're not a part of the Patreon, you need to really tap into the Patreon, because I break down all of these things, not only from a logical perspective, but from a business perspective. And you need to look at everything from a business perspective in order to protect yourself against people that will make your company liable and then also make you liable if you don't have your paperwork in order to separate what it is that you do from a business perspective, okay? He claims suing a hotel against the person that made the complaint. News outlet reportedly obtained a lawsuit filed by the NFL Hall of Famer. He wasted no time whatsoever. That reads, rash and thoughtless actions can have severe consequences. Marriott, parent company of Renaissance Hotels, apparently did not appreciate these simple truths when, in a rush to judgment, its employees and management inaccurately and inflammatorily, I like that word, accused Mr. Irvin of misconduct to the National Football League. According to the lawsuit, witnesses corroborated Irvin's initial claims that he had friendly conversation with the employee before they shook hands and went to his room. Let me highlight this word, alone. He went to his room alone. Okay? Irving and his team reportedly reached out to the hotel chain to rectify any misunderstanding once they became aware of the allegations. However, the Renaissance refused to listen, and the lawsuit asserts the hotel manager reported the alleged incident to the NFL. Let's read that again. They claim the Renaissance refused to listen, and the lawsuit asserts the hotel manager reported the alleged incident to the NFL with the intention of damaging that relationship and canceling Irving. Gentlemen, there's two things that we want to take from this, okay? First and foremost, people that are looking to come up and cancel you know no bounds. They will take whatever it is that they can and levy that against you and hope that they are able to capitalize off of whatever it is that your fame or status says that you are, and then get you canceled with no kind of regard for your family or what your well-being is or whatever. There are so many different people that are coming after you that are clout chasers that do not have your best interests at heart. You have to protect yourself. They will dox you. They will call your job. They will do you dirty. This is a man whose story was corroborated by several different people. He tried to do the right thing and reach out to them and then try to make this right. They literally allegedly called the NFL and then got this man removed from ESPN and the NFL Network on the biggest weekend of his alleged career for that particular year. Let's continue. His attorney, Levi McCarthan, told TMZ his client is suing because the damage to his reputation as well as the financial loss caused by the canceled TV appearances. You messed up my money. It's clear Michael is the latest victim of our cancel culture where all it takes is an accusation to ruin a person's life. Michael looks forward to clearing his name in court and hopes the court of public opinion will see the truth come out as well. So let's think about this. Let's really, really put it in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and then we're going to get into this vice panel. Let's put it in perspective. Michael Irvin was falsely accused of doing anything other than, and think about this, he did not let anybody inside of his hotel room. He did not do anything of sexual misconduct. He called and his team allegedly called to clear his name, and they still accused falsely and then called his job, didn't go to the police, didn't do anything negative or whatever. The first thing that they did is they just called his job in order to get him canceled so that they can come up off some money and then get some public support. Over the last about month, I've been telling y'all and I've been having conversations with y'all about why it's important for you to be proactive and protecting yourself and not even putting yourself in a position to be accused in the first place. It's never been more dangerous. And this don't just apply to people with some level of visibility or money. This applies to every person, man or woman. It has never been more dangerous for people of any kind of clout or significance. If they think that you got something, they're coming up for you. It's never been more dangerous for people that have anything of significance, or even if somebody just want to get a couple likes on Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube, and then possibly make a video as a result of it. It's never been more dangerous for people that are not moving a certain type of way and is not proactively protecting themselves. This don't even have nothing to do with whether or not you're guilty or not. We know that he ain't did nothing wrong. That's not even a question. The question then becomes, how can you learn from this situation in order to protect yourself and your reputation and the bags that you possibly can or can't get? Now guys are starting to catch on, a lot of us. Some of us are still living under a rock because we think that we know better than the system until the system start kicking your butt. Now guys are starting to get hip and they starting to retaliate. I want everything. I'm coming for 100 million for false accusations. You tried to mess up the bag and this is going to cost you dearly with severe consequences. And I'm garnishing your paycheck for the rest of your life because I know you'll never, ever be able to pay that back. I'm coming for everything and everyone that you've ever loved. Anybody that's ever did business with you, any job that you ever have, I'm going to take 25% of everything you make for the rest of your life until you give me my money, and I'm charging interest. There needs to be severe consequences for false accusations And I am not going for it even a little bit. I do not believe all women. I am not that type of guy. I'm a bag chaser. Not a believer of all women. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, but I'm not a believer in all women. I do not subject myself or participate in the Victim Olympics. And so you will not be a victim when I come for you, because you will earn every single thing that I have for you when I'm coming for you with my lawyers. And see, this is the thing that I think that black men need to start doing differently. We got to stop using this and start using this. Our disadvantage as black men is that we lean too heavily on a thing that allows for us to be more successful than everybody else. And that becomes our downfall, because you run faster, you got bigger dicks. Huh? Let's talk about it. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. We don't mince words over here. I see you with the super chat. I'm coming to you. I'm going to read that. I ain't forget about you. You run faster. You jump faster. You got bigger dicks. You walk with a swag. That's something that people can't duplicate. It don't matter how much they try to be you. They ain't never going to be you. It don't matter how jealous they are. Don't matter what they call you. Don't matter how much they hate you. Don't matter how much jealousy is in their heart. They never going to be you. But as a result, that's the thing that becomes your downfall, because you lean too heavily into that and instead of continuing to gird up as far as up here. When you have problems, you don't focus on the thing that you're strongest at. You focus on the thing that you're weak in order to become strong in it, so that you have no holes in your armor. There's nothing that can pierce you. There's no holes in your armor where they looking for your weakness. Your weakness then becomes your blind spot, because you so focused on, man, I beat they doop. As a result of whatever it is that somebody say to you, you automatically lean to the thing that you're great at. Lean to the thing that they're least expected for you to lean into, similar to what Michael Irvin did. And he said, all right, cool. I ain't gonna run into you because I'm a pro football Hall of Famer from the Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna hit you with this lawsuit, and we gonna make an example of you. We got to start thinking our way through things. We have to start being proactive. We have to start making examples of people, and then we will start to get the results. But I know it's going to be several different people that think a little bit differently, because they know better than me, and because that ain't applying to all guys. Anyways, moving on. Thank you. Hold on. Let me acknowledge my people real quick. I got to acknowledge the people. Thank you, Jaquel. I appreciate you. Jaquel says, humble versus haughty is loving God versus loving yourself. Working in faith with what you have while God established your plans, built character. Praise God. Shout out to Jaquel PF. I appreciate you for the fireball and supporting the platform on this beautiful, beautiful Monday. Let's continue, y'all. I want to get into this debate. Now, one of the reasons why I felt like this was an important thing to get into, and I have not at all seen not one clip from it, but I seen a bunch of black people on a panel, and then one that looks like they trying to be black, and they probably gonna say, well, I'm African or something like that. I seen a bunch of people and somebody in this video that people sent me, and I want to have this conversation because I believe that we have an identity crisis amongst us. We hate ourselves. I have not watched the video, but I'm about to play it. I think that we hate ourselves. We hate everything about ourselves. You hate the fact that you was born with black skin. You hate the fact that you short. You hate the fact that you got a beard or you don't have a beard. Everything in you is forcing you to do things differently about yourself because somebody told you that you was less than. You hate yourself. Now, I'm not talking about being professional. I'm not talking about the things that you can control. I'm not talking about combing your hair. I'm not talking about smelling good. Don't use this as an excuse in order to be zesty. Don't use this as an excuse in order to be musty because you're talking about this your normal self. Stop putting lemon juice under your underarms. You stink. You smell like a piece of garbage. No, that's not what we talking about. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. Don't switch my words up and say that Anton is all for black soap and all of that other stuff. No, I'm not. You need to wear shoes when you go to work just because you're from Africa and you used to hunt. I don't care about your ancestors. That ain't what we talking about. We're talking about the things that you can't control. The thing that is, I'm not talking about whether or not you going to the gym. Don't sit here and tell me that you big boned it. You not. Your bones are the same size as everybody else's. Please don't tell me that you big boned it. All right? I'm talking about the things that you can't control. The things that you can't control. You can't control how big your lips are. You can't control your skin color. You can control whether or not you run in the Victim Olympics, and you use that as the thing that leapfrogs past everybody else, because while they're focused on the things that you can't control, you control in the controllables. You control in the controllables. You can control whether or not you're educated. You can control whether or not you can speak proper English. Just because you black don't mean you gotta talk like this. You don't have to sound like an ignorant buffoon just because you black. You don't have to embrace this thing that they say is a part of the culture just because you black. You don't have to embrace the things that's the worst for you just because you black. I don't want to get into it because, again, I have not seen the video yet. Shout out to the people that's holding me down. I appreciate you, Black Neo One Give. I appreciate you for the 2-ball, and then really it's the 4-ball because he says, will you ever run for president? You should. Nah. I think that the people that really control what happens in office are the people that's behind the scenes putting the money up. And it's not the people that's actually the face of the organization. Trust me, I'm very much in tune with what's going on. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I need y'all to hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Even if you hit a dislike, it's free. Just hit it. Hit something, all right? I appreciate everybody that hit the super chat, everybody that's holding me down from that perspective. And also, finally, I appreciate all of my bag chasers and my Patreon members and everybody that's a part of the Alpha Juice gang that ordered it and put the discount code inside of the order before you ordered. I appreciate everybody that's doing the thing that's in their own best interest by aligning themselves with a group of people that's going in the direction that they're going in. Let's go ahead and get into it. Again, I have not watched this video. I do not know what it is that they're going to say. I think it's important for us to have the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and we're going to deep dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. It looked like, okay, just on first glance, first of all, I don't like when it says people of color. What does that mean? That means everybody, right? Because everybody got something in them. All right. Secondly, it looks like this man with the dreadlocks on the upper left-hand corner got makeup on his eyes. All right. It looked wild. It looked absolutely wild already. It looks wild. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. And I'm going to play it at double the speed. Not even double the speed. I'm going to play it at 1.25, maybe 1.5. And then we'll make the adjustments as we go. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. Let's rock out, ladies and gentlemen.
A lot of pink today. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us today. My name is Alexis Johnson. I'm a correspondent with Vice News, and I'll also be acting as our moderator for today's panel. We first want to put out the disclaimer that, we've done our best to get you all here today of different ethnicities, different shades, different skin tones to talk about this topic, but we realize we can't represent everybody in this discussion, okay? Today we're going to be discussing a topic that, as a brown-skinned black woman moving throughout the world, it's something that I think about a lot. It's something that I hear being discussed a lot, both in real life, online, in the media. Today we're here to talk about colorism. What is colorism?
First of all, this lady is really, really pretty. She's naturally pretty. All right. I just want to point that out.
And how do you define it?
Hi, my name is Koa, and I identify as biracial. I think about colorism as a distinct hierarchy that is anchored in a proximity to whiteness.
Girl, you is all the way white. I don't want to. What are you? 2% black or Mexican or something like that? Girl, you would not have been in the field picking cotton. As a matter of fact, you probably would have got a really good education. I don't know where they got this lady from. I don't know who she is. But why is the one that is the least affected the most, the first one to speak in Victim Olympics? And then you got You got the homie over here. Hold on, let me see how he sound when he responded. Give me a second.
As a distinct hierarchy that is anchored in a proximity to whiteness.
Interesting. I think colorism is internalized racism. I'm Calvin West, and I am an American.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Maya. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm Black. So I actually think that
She used them. Fucking A. I'm sorry. I said that I wasn't going to curse. I use them pronouns. Hey, can you go and get them? Is it them because you ate two people at one time? I'm sorry. Is it because it's two of you when you get on the scale, or you eat for two people when you go to the restaurant? Oh, let me stop. All right. Let's get it together, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it together. We not gonna do that. We gonna be on our P's and Q's before we get into this video. Shout out to all of my bag chasers. Let's continue.
that colorism existed before racism, and the fact that historically, for example, if you look at Europe or Asia, like serfs, peasants, people who were in the lower classes had to work and toil in the sun, and those who were royalty or aristocrats or whatever tend to be lighter skinned. And so there has historically been a privileging of lighter skin over darker skinned individuals. But I think that with the onset of global white supremacy fueled by European colonialism, 1492 onward, it was then absorbed into racism.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. I identify as Iranian. As someone who's from like an Asian country that wasn't technically colonized, we even have colorism in that idea, even without people coming in and telling us that. So it's almost like a
Girl. Okay, I understand they got to get different people from all over the globe in order to be able to have this conversation.
preconceived idea that's in our heads.
I'm a mixed race Puerto Rican. And in the Latina community, you can understand that very much as a caste system where there is no shame to address darker skinned people by slurs.
Okay. There are personal consequences for colorism. There are also systemic consequences. And colorism has implications for public health, beauty, and all sorts of things in society.
Why are there only 3 guys on the panel and it's a ton of women?
Okay. So you said that you feel like it is internalized racism?
The blackest experience any black person can have is another black person telling them that they aren't black. And that is something that happens to lighter skinned black people because there's this idea and that I've lived a different life because I'm a lighter skin. And that to me is the most anti-black thing you can do to anybody.
Maya, what are your thoughts on that? Sorry, I saw you had a little bit of a reaction.
Oh,
there.
me?
Yeah.
So I think often when lighter skinned people talk about experiencing bias from darker skinned people, I think that my first thought is just like, remember that colorism is an ism. And like when something has an ISM, it means institutional power plus prejudice. Darker skinned people as a class of people do not have the ability, the institutional power to,
Look at that zesty in the upper left-hand corner.
for example, put you in prison for longer sentences because of being lighter skinned or, having less access to employment. There's actual statistics where like a darker skinned person with a master's degree usually has less employment opportunities or is less employable than a lighter skinned person who has a bachelor's. And it's not to say that like bullying is like, I know it hurts. Like it's like personal sentiment. I know.
No, it's because people don't want to hire you because they think that you're going to eat all of the bagels every time that they do a bagel run for the company. It's cultural. I know plenty of darker skinned women that are thriving. I mean, thriving in corporate America. So the thing about these statistics is that you can parse the data to mean whatever it is that you want it to mean. It's similar to the Bible, right? The word can say something, and then 2 different people based off of where it is in their life and how it is that they're trying to use it can interpret it differently and use it differently in order to substantiate their argument, whether you're on the left side or you're on the right side of the argument. I know women, I know men, I know white, black, all the way across the board that is thriving because they then control the controllables. The reality is that it has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with how it is that you operate within your culture and if you control the controllables. If you come in and you lugging your way up the steps in order to get to the interview subconsciously without even trying, most of the time, people who are interviewing you gonna say, because we're equating it, think about it, and all of this is happening subconsciously. We're equating how it is that you're who it is that you are. If you weigh 350 pounds, to me, that says no discipline whatsoever. It don't say, okay, up and down, had a good day. Maybe they sacrificed one thing for another in order. That says sloppy, undisciplined, Victim Olympics. It's a lot of different stereotypes and labels that I'm gonna go ahead and throw right on top of that. That don't say, it says wake up late, all of that to me. And it ain't got nothing to do with your skin color. It got everything to do with, you can look at a person and pretty much tell in a lot of instances how it is that they operate, and even they friends. It says to me, whistleblower. Whistleblower. That's what it says to me. Undisciplined, whistleblower, don't really want to be successful. Understand that your ability to be able to get a promotion has nothing to do with how good you work or how many phones you answer. It has everything to do with whether or not people like you and they want to rock with you. So again, I think that this is the Victim Olympics, and we need to start controlling the controllables.
That actually feels bad, but I think that it's important to remember when we're talking about whether racism or colorism or anything that's an ism, that there's an element of institutional power that is added on to the prejudice.
I do feel like when darker skinned people...
Why is this saying, listen. Is this the Millionaire Morning Show about money anymore or what? So remember, think about this, y'all. Let's think about this. When we first came into the show, somebody said, can you really just hurry up and get to the video and the subject on the Vice panel? And I talked about the money. I talked about why people that make $100,000 a year in order, because it's all coming back to the money, which you don't understand. I'm literally breaking down how colorism is not a thing as far as how it is that you can be successful in corporate America or business, and how people are running in the Victim Olympics, and how you need to start controlling the controllables and the things necessary in order to grow, whether you're in corporate America or from a business perspective or in a networking perspective. You have to control other things instead of leaning on the big Victim Olympics, because culture is whether or not people see that they can work with you. It all comes back to the money. But I specifically talked about the money. I talked about the money when it came to the first subject. I talked about the money when it came to Michael Irvin. And I'm relating it back to the money when it comes to this. So please, if you want some other boring, silly conversation that is not relevant to anybody, and nobody wants to hear you talk about the little dumb stuff, and you don't want the entertainment that go along with the money in order for you to better understand how it is that you can leverage what it is that we're talking about in your regular life, go listen to Boyce Watkins, okay? We don't do that over here. We do what we want to do. This is just an example, and I'm using this person as an example to show you that people are going to complain no matter how much information you give, no matter whether you talk about the money first, last, or any of that. So just continue to ignore them and do what you do. I'm reading Super Chat shortly. Thank you, Sir Shah. Let's continue.
People express their frustration to lighter skinned people that their lives might be different, harder. I think you sort of have to acknowledge your privilege, or else it's very ignorant, even though we're both black.
What specifically does that mean? Like, I've had experiences in my life that have not been great. And I can assume that it's because of the color of my skin, right? We talk about these ideologies.
What the hell is that? And what is those eyes? Why do he has lampshades or windows on his eye? Why do he have blue windows on his eyes?
Right, which I think we get lost in sometimes. And we have to just bring it back to reality of like, well, let's talk about your situation for a second. How has it affected you specifically? And the answers that you get are, I didn't get an apartment, I didn't get a job, I didn't get that promotion, which happened.
This looked like the villain. He gonna be the person that tap into they triggering moments in order to be able to really, really put them on display on how it is that they running in the Victim Olympics. His shirt is a little bold, but I like his arguments.
To everybody, right? They can always talk about somebody else and what's happened in history, but they can't talk about their own lived experiences, and that's important.
I have plenty of lived experiences. I mean, we could go from for me, I'm in the beauty industry, the beauty.
Do we have a universal beauty standard, or is it based off of whatever it is that you feel at that particular time? I'm just going to ask the question. I'm going to say the thing that everybody else want to say. If he's in the beauty industry, who's coming to him for advice? Now, I'll give you another example in comparison. Kevin Samuels was an image consultant, right? Kevin Samuels was fresh every single day. He was fresh, crisp, clean, fly, the whole 9 yards. Kevin can sell that. Kevin can sell that image to you. Who's coming to this guy? Who's coming to this guy who knew that he was going to be on a huge panel on Vice for beauty standards? Just curious, just asking a question.
World, so I get invited to influencer events, and if I look around and I'm the darkest black person, there's still a problem there. You know what I mean? That's a perfect example of that. And you might not realize it, but white people, lighter skinned people, they might be more willing to approach you because you are lighter skinned. That's another personal thing that, have you realized that?
Yes, I can acknowledge that may be the thing. Here's the other thing that happens. The other side of that, the other perspective on that is that I've done a lot of things in the acting world. I've missed roles because I'm not dark enough. And there's a lot of black people who don't know that. They have no idea that your skin tone is actually highly sought out for.
But I feel like that's acting. You know, they're looking to fill a specific role, whereas if you're just applying for a job, you know, a lighter skinned person might get that opportunity over a darker skinned person.
I get so many personal testimonials from young, dark-skinned black girls who are very detailed about how colorism affects their life. So obviously colorism is a systemic issue, but I think an important part of it is the personal battle like young black girls endure. These girls are being bullied. Some are as young as 14, 13 years old, having really like mental health crises in middle school. Like there's also so much research about how colorism shows up like systemically. Like there's research on public health and the different health outcomes darker skinned black people have as opposed to lighter skinned black people. And there's one about pulse oximeters like being used.
Okay, so let me say this, right? I just got a text from my daughter, right? And my daughter says, Dad just landed. She just came back from her Taekwondo competition. Ranked number 1 in the country in her age group. Have always basically been raised around and existed around a bevy of different colors of people, but more importantly, she's always been around more white people than black people. My daughter has never, not one time, as a 14-year-old black girl that is literally the color of me. My daughter is about her complexion, sitting here on the panel. This girl right here, my daughter is a 14, about to be 15-year-old young girl. Has always went to the best schools, has always been surrounded by the majority white people or people that's not necessarily of color. And she has never, ever, or mixed people, and not one time has my daughter ever come home and said, I feel like a victim, or they teasing me because of my color, or I feel a certain type of way because I feel less than, or I feel left out as a result of it. My daughter has more friends, super popular, hangs out, takes flights, does all of the good things. Not one time has my 14, about to be 15-year-old daughter ever come home to me and said anything related to race, color of her skin, or how dark she is that has been an issue in her life as to where it is that she's supposed to be, how it is that she's supposed to overcome, and whether or not people are treating her what she believes to be fair and equal. Not one time has my daughter, not in any time that I can ever remember in my life, not one time has my daughter ever come home and said, I feel like a victim because of my darker skin. She loves it. She embraces it. She actually says, Dad, me and you are the same color. I love it. My daughter loves being dark. She loves who she is. She enjoys it. My wife is dark just like me. My whole family is literally a reflection of me. We have never, ever, ever been discriminated against. We have never, ever ran in the Victim Olympics. I have never in my life, every last one of my brothers are lighter than me, yet I am the most successful one of all of us. Every last one of my brothers are lighter than me, but I'm more successful. I do you one better, except for my oldest brother. All of my brothers are taller than me and lighter than me. I got a brother that's 6'2". I got a brother that's 5'11", is me. And then I got a brother that's like 5'6". He's the oldest. Ironically enough, the two shortest are the richest. Facts. The two shortest brothers, me and my oldest brothers, are the richest. And I'm the most successful of all of us. We don't care about what anybody is saying or thinking about us. We are going to continue to win regardless. It is not about how you feel. It is not about substantiating it based off of what somebody else thinks. If you live your life based off of what you think everybody else thinks about you, you will forever be a victim in your own mind. Let me say that one more time. If you live your life based off of what you think other people think about you, you will forever be a victim. You know what I'm starting to hear? You know what I'm starting to hear? I'm starting to hear white people say that I'm marginalized because I'm white and I'm not getting the opportunities that I'm supposed to get because to be a white man in America today is public enemy number one. I don't care what other. As a matter of fact, the thing that I've heard the most in my lifetime, the most hate that I get even today on the internet is from people that look like me. I don't get white people preventing me from having opportunities. I get one of the biggest opportunities that I got in my life was a white woman, the whitest of white pale women in her life. On her deathbed, as a part of her final wish before she went and died from cancer, said that she wanted to make sure that I was taken care of and that I was hired in for a specific position that I was going for. That was one of her final wishes. I get on the internet and I hear black people calling me out of my name more than ever. Does that affect me? Absolutely not. I do not live for them. I do not care what other people think unless it's going to give me some insight, constructive criticism on how I can improve or be a much richer or better person. You have to stop caring about what the general public thinks about you and start making moves based off of what makes the most sense. So you're going to live your whole life as a victim. Your whole life is going to be based off of a Jerry Springer talk show in which you come back from high school and say, you used to think I'm whack. Now I'm all of that. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care nothing about you. They don't care anything about you. Live your life and live it in abundance and fruitful and multiply your money and go on trips and have a great time and operate with no debt. All of this colorism and all of this other type of stuff, that's why y'all going and get these BBLs, because you care so much about what other people think. That's why you out here with these butterfly eyelashes, because you care about what everybody else think. That's why you out here bleaching your skin, because you operating like a victim. You in the victim Olympics. You care so much about what everybody else think to where you completely alter who you are physically.
During COVID and how the devices have a harder time registering darker skin. And you can imagine the implications for that. And we know that the Black community has been disproportionately affected by COVID in terms of like deaths. I don't think that evidence can be divorced from the anecdotes, because the anecdotes just supplement that evidence. They help put that evidence into context. And I'm so fascinated by the growing scholarship around colorism, because I think it's about time people treat colorism with the same seriousness they treat racism.
Lamar, what are your thoughts?
When you come with statistics like that, that's the kind of supporting arguments that we need, as opposed to kind of moving away from the anecdotal, in my opinion, right? Because we're talking about something so big and so huge that affects everyone who is alive. I'm in the middle. Colorism exists for sure. I just think there's a lot of confirmation bias in our personal experiences that might drive us right to that term when it could be a number of other things.
But she's talking about how particularly darker-skinned women engage with structures, engage with power, engage with institutions. Per that exact point, there are continuing studies that show that in instances in which darker-skinned women do report intimate partner violence, domestic partner violence, bruises on their body, strangulation marks are harder for police to see, nurses to see, physicians to see, because a lot about how they are trained and the way they interact with those victims are attuned to look for those marks on lighter skin tones. And so that also impacts a lot in terms of who is seen as a victim, who gets resources, who gets proper medical attention. A lighter-skinned woman who presents like I do, who walks in with something that reads very clean cut, is likely to get more attention in an already deeply misogynistic and racist and sexist body than a woman who is much darker than I am.
So they seem to have presented a lot of evidence and studies. Are you changing your mind at all?
As well as self-lived testimony, as well as anecdotal evidence. It goes back to how you feel about yourself.
I feel like it sounds like you're saying racism is like a choice almost.
How you respond to racism is, absolutely. And I know that that's uncomfortable. And I love this is my wheelhouse, trust me. How you respond to racism is a choice.
I'm hearing particularly...
He's 100% correct. Life is 10. My father said to me, and I've said that to y'all 100,000 times. Life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it. I'm going to say it one more time. 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to it. How you respond to it is more important than what happens to you.
On this side of the room, this idea that you can make an individual choice outside of the context of history, culture, politics, structures. I don't believe that personally. I think when anybody buys a certain product, styles themselves a certain way, decides to not style themselves a certain way, read a certain book, use certain words in a job interview, approach a politician, I think all of that is informed by history literally all of the time. Yeah.
We don't want to talk about anybody's individual experiences of it unless it's an experience that is affected by colorism in the way that you guys are comfortable with it. Colorism also happens on the other end. When I talk about the internalized racism and how lighter skinned voices, they don't get heard, they don't get pushed out there within the black community, that I get eye rolls, I get, people, there's a reaction to that is very negative and not welcoming. And
I'm not in the business of denying people their lived experiences, like who am I? But I think we can also acknowledge that those things happen. Like lighter skinned people have like certain experiences where they feel invalidated because of their complexion, and we can also
can you acknowledge that colorism affects lighter skinned people?
There's no such thing as reverse colorism. Same way there's no such thing as reverse racism.
There's no such thing as reverse colorism, just like there's no such thing as reverse racism. Lies. Lies. Lies, lies, lies. Listen, there's no worse words that I've ever heard in my entire life than a living room of a family member on Thanksgiving that feel comfortable enough to say what it is that they want to say. Let me say it again. I don't care what you think. I don't care how you see it. I'm going to tell it just like it is. There is no worse words that I've ever heard been said than the living room. And I'm not even talking about my family, because we've all visited other places and other experiences and gone over that girl's house or whatever to see what her mother and her grandmother say and all of that. I have heard no worse words towards another group of people, whether it's white people, whether it's Mexicans, whether it's Asians, or so on and so forth. I have heard some of the most egregious things from some of the very people that look like me in our own living rooms, even against people that are your own color that look differently from you. They could be light-skinned, they could be a model, they could be tall, they can be an immigrant, they could be a lot of different things. One of the biggest wars that I see happening across the internet right now is African descendants of slaves or American descendants of slaves versus black immigrants. I've heard some of the most egregious things and some of the grimiest names called or said about other people in some of the very living rooms that we sit in today. If you sit here and you telling me that it's a lie, you know you ain't being honest. You know you ain't being honest. Shout out to Sir Shah. Sir Shah says cake soap is a big industry in Nigeria and Jamaica. I've heard about that, Sir Shah. Also says this guy is telling the rules to the sisterhood. Green-eyed scent guy says all I hear is excuses and more excuses. That's generally what people hear when they successful, right? The people that get to it, the people that don't lean into it, the people that wind up becoming the best version of themselves, they don't hear, oh man, they hear, yo, what are y'all talking about? Get up off of your oppression Olympics and let's get to this success. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Green Eye Scent guy. I appreciate you for the super chat.
Reverse sexism and reverse-ism, that's what I believe.
That's your opinion.
I agree in the sense that the experiences you're talking about that circulate around like all this coded language of like you're not actually black or you're not black enough or like, quantifying.
Which also happens with white people.
I didn't finish speaking.
I'm sorry, I just want to add to your point. Go ahead.
I have experienced versions of that myself, and I do not consider that to be colorism. Colorism is distinctly about a system and resources and visibility and autonomy within those systems.
Like, to add on what you said, like, about the whole bullying and things, like, that actually does happen. Like, I've been bullied just for, well, I consider myself as brown skin, but back then I was.
What the hell is brown skin? What the hell is black people? That's a label that people continue to call themselves. Yo, the word that I hear more often than not is nigga. I consider myself brown skin. You know I like your brown skin. We got whole songs. What was that? India.Arie? Brown skin. You know I like your brown skin. Didn't I see all of my ladies singing that? Didn't I hear all of the ladies singing that when India.Arie first hit the scene? No? Y'all wasn't seeing that? Brown. I ain't hear y'all singing black skin. I ain't hear y'all singing none of that. I heard y'all singing brown. Black. Now it's black and brown people. Black and brown people. No. It's not black and brown people. It's people of color. People of color Anybody that's not from the Caucasus Mountains.
It's like really dark skin. And I did lighten up like probably 2 shades, maybe 3 shades because of it.
Can you tell me why you started to bleach your skin?
It's like you growing up in school, you have mainly guys making fun of your skin color and calling you charcoal, calling you dark. So growing up, you just start to feel like, oh, okay, no one likes me because of my skin color. Like, okay, I see. So that kind of does something to your
So she started to bleach her skin? Oh, snaps. Snap, crackle, pop.
head, you feel me? And also we have social media. They do praise lighter skinned women, Latinas, whatever, pale skinned women. So that kind of makes you feel like you're not desired, you feel me? So, and that's why I started bleaching my skin. That's why I started skin lightening because of it, you know? And, you know, people that do buy my stuff, like they do tell me that it's helping them feel more confident. I know it's kind of sad, but it's like, that's the society we live in now.
So when you say when people buy your stuff, can you talk about your business and what it is that you sell?
I sell skin bleaching cream. Pretty controversial, I know, but I do have negative comments. People saying you hate yourself, you wish you were white, this and that, you're a follower, like just a lot of stuff.
Why do people know that she's bleaching her skin? Why is she out here announcing to the world? Why does she? Jesus Christ.
But I don't really like listen to it. I really don't care. I guess how society sees dark women, like we're basically the losing team. Like who wants to be on the losing team? I felt like lighter skinned women, they were more desired and they get away with more and they have more privileges than I did. And also, I thought I looked prettier later. And for me, I honestly I don't think it's a big deal because I feel like people want to be darker and people want to be lighter. So I don't see why it's such a taboo. I'm not ashamed of it because I kind of see the hypocrisy in it.
Being a lighter person, I do experience a tremendous amount of privilege, and I'm not denying that of you at all. I think what upset me about the skin bleaching is that a lot of mothers do it to their daughters, and from my own experience, sometimes your parents do it to you, and you don't have the consent of the child, or someone like me could end up much lighter than I was in my childhood and kind of have an identity issue, and it's just, for me, it's a matter of consent.
And also, I feel like you have to ask yourself, what's the goal? You know, the goal is to end colorism, racism. I feel like you changing your skin tone is just feeding into the cycle.
Sir, you have on blue wind lashes. You have on blue. You trying to change your whole gender. Why you have a whole mustache, sir? What are we talking about? If that ain't the pot calling the kettle black. Sir, you have on a blue jean denim jacket and New Balance 407s. That is not styling. What the heck is going on here? And you have on false locks. Anyways. Her head is a different color than her face. Well, see, Colin Cole, you would have never noticed that if she hadn't identified the fact that she's been bleaching her skin. You would have never known that. Shout out to Colin Cole. I appreciate you, big dog.
And also, I think making money off of that is very kind of shady.
And some people just personally feel like they look better lighter, just like some people feel like they look better with makeup on. Why don't you just tell everybody, love your natural skin, you don't need makeup.
Oh, that was a shot. She said, just like you wearing makeup, sir. Just like you feel like you look better with them blue window shades on your eyes. You wearing makeup, which I don't think either one of them making sense. However, you can't be wearing fake makeup and then pretending to be a little girl and then sitting there saying stuff about her. At least she halfway decent looking though on the low.
Being systemically oppressed from not wearing makeup though, whereas someone with darker skin might experience systemic racism.
It's hypocrisy though. That's what I'm trying to say, and that's not fair.
And I also don't think we can just ignore that there's such a terrible history of racism and colorism, and that's why it's a bigger deal.
Ain't none of these people on this panel ever experienced any kind of racism in their life. All victim Olympians. Shout out to Better You. Better You says, do you think colorists are just folks who are lost at the dozens? I think that most people are looking to be a victim. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to feel like, you know, I'm a part of a group or I should be heard too. And the best way for you to do that is to be able to find a group that you can identify with. And most of the time it happens on college campuses. You find a group because they have all of these lists of groups. You got the African American group and you got the Mexicans for great. God forbid you ever see somebody that's in a white group because then they're going to call that a hate group, all right? And then you got the women group, and then you got the immigrant group, and then you have the short people group, and then you have the midgets group, and then you have the basketball group. And we've all continued to separate ourselves based off of what we identify as differences. And now it's getting to the point to where you don't even have to actually be that thing to be in a group. You could just feel that way, because a man can feel like he a woman, or a woman can feel like they a man, and then they're going to sue you for not letting them in the group, because it's about what it is that you feel now. It's not even based off of anything that you can substantiate that's real about yourself. We're so broken as a society, and we're looking for some validation. And part of it comes from being raised in single parent households in which nobody told you that they loved you enough. And so now you're looking for love in all of the wrong places, and you're looking for it in victimhood instead of substantiating who it is that you are and growth. Understanding that every single person on the face of this earth goes through things. You want to be 7'2"? Okay, it's a strong possibility that you're going to die before you're 50, because your body is not meant to be able to hold on to and withstand. And a lot of those guys can't even walk straight past the age of 37 because their knees is broken up. It's the truth. Most of those guys that are 7 feet, 6'9", 6'8", and 7 feet above, they don't live to get into their very old age. You don't see guys that are super, super tall living to be 80 and 90 years old. It does not happen. Be careful what you ask for, and embrace the thing that God made you. You are uniquely you for a reason. There are benefits that come along with you being you. You short, you might be able to get into better crawl spaces. You might win the limbo competition a little bit. You know, when they do go under the thing, you might win you some extra prizes. I'm just messing around. The point that I'm saying is there's something that's uniquely you, and everybody wishes that they can be somebody else. The married guy wishes he could be single. The single girl wishes she could be married. The tall guy wishes that he can walk straight because his knees is fucked up. The fat girl secretly wishes that she was skinny because she don't like being fat, but she don't want to embrace it. So now she says, don't body shame me, body positivity. The skinny girl wishes she could be thicker, so she going out and getting the BBL. The black girl wishes she could be lighter. The white girl is in the tanning booth. All of y'all are just fucked up in the head because all of y'all want to be something that you're not, instead of embracing and leaning into the thing that's absolutely awesome about you. That's why even in relationships, and I gave y'all this game inside of the Patreon. I said, listen, one of the keys in order to be successfully married is not to spend the majority of your time talking about the things that you have problems with. It's to spend 98% of your time, 99% of your time focused on the things that you absolutely love about the person. All the rest of that is bullshit. All of it is bullshit. And so everybody, no matter how beautiful, no matter how stupid, no matter how dumb, no matter how, every single person, rappers wish that they could be ball players, even though ball players make more money and ball players wish that they could be rappers. Every single person that I see walking around or on these panels or in real life is sitting there with something that they don't like about themselves. And instead of spending more time championing the thing that's great about them, they sit there and they point the finger and say, you don't accept me because I am A, B, and C. It's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. Shout out to my dog, Jamal Williams, in the building. I appreciate you for the 10 ball. Said 100. I am keeping it 100 today. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen.
To people when people are bleaching their skin versus when people are putting on makeup. And yeah.
I think for me,
Thank you, Jamal.
when it comes to skin bleaching, I'm a lot less interested in the personal experience and more just like, why is this a multi-billion-dollar industry? Like, why is Dove, something?
Ma'am. The last thing that you need to be worried about is skin bleaching. You need to be focused on putting less food in your mouth, and we're not even worried about the gym. Don't look. If you back this up 5 seconds, check it out. Watch this.
I'm a lot less interested in the personal experience and more.
Your thighs are coming through the chair, ma'am. Respectfully, your thighs, the chair that's meant to hold you up is like a thong on the side of your leg. The chair that you're sitting in is like a thong on the side of your leg. The last thing that you should be worried about is colorism, ma'am. You need to be focused 100% of your energy on getting a mouth device that does not open past this much right here to prevent any more food from coming in that thing. That is the honest to God truth. I don't know if your mom told you. I don't know what it is that you're struggling with. I don't know if you eat as a result of getting depressed or whatever, but you need to put a device on your mouth to prevent yourself from eating yourself into death, because nothing else needs to be getting through those teeth except for liquids, preferably water. Okay?
Or just like, why is this a multi-billion-dollar industry?
Mm.
Like, why is Dove, something in the U.S. that, they just sell bar soaps here, but in Asia, they literally are selling skin bleaching. Asia and Africa, the Caribbean, we need to talk about how this is like a capitalist enterprise that is invested in people lightening their skin. That to me, I think that's why it's important to remember,
And that's not saying that out of capping or nothing. I'm being 100% real. Bad health, diabetes, high blood pressure, all of that stuff is real, man. We need to.
Who benefits from people lightening their skin? I think that the conversations, we need to talk about class and capitalism along this as well.
So why does makeup get a pass when it's literally the same concept?
You're internalizing the idea that being lighter skinned is prettier, and I get why. Obviously, I'm very privy to the societal pressures that would drive one to skin bleach, so I'm not trying to judge, but
you are, though. You are, though. You are. And we just have to own that. Let's just own
and I hate when people say, I'm not trying to judge, but. No. He called her out on her BS. The only thing I don't like about Fish Shirt is that he's not even more aggressive, and he's not just being real and just calling it out all the way. He's being smart. He's being articulate. I like the way he's communicating, whatever it is that he's communicating without being offensive. But he just really needs to go all the way in and call out the BS and deal with it. Call her out on her BS.
I don't know how I'm judging. I literally acknowledge that. I understand why skin bleaching is a thing. I have a lot of family that skin bleaches. I'm not sitting here pretending oh, just love yourself, blah, 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 or even questioning that you don't love yourself. I understand there's so many pressures that would make someone want to bleach their skin in the first place. I just think that it is a consequence of internalized anti-blackness. You've internalized something, and it's not to say that it's your fault. It's just we live in a world.
To sit here and criticize people based off of skin color, as far as having an issue and complaining about all of the different things related to skin color, is literally to criticize God. Have y'all thought about that? To sit here and hate somebody or sit here running a victim Olympics as a result of the thing that you are and the thing that you were born is to hate God. God made everybody different, and we don't. What fun would it be on this earth? What fun would it be on this earth to everybody be the exact same, man? For everybody to be exact same height, for everybody to be literally the exact, basically y'all gonna be a bunch of seahorses. Everybody want to be a seahorse. Everybody want to be a zebra. Everybody want to be a zebra. Everybody got the exact same stripes. Everybody the exact same color. Everybody the exact same height and all of that. That wouldn't even be any fun. There's no fun in that.
And we absorb the various messages, and we are all impressionable.
I don't have much to add, but I do think that what I would like for this conversation to do is less of focusing on your personal experience of skin bleaching in the business, and more of you as someone who had a lived experience of being darker skinned, you saw, and you had the material experience of receiving discrimination and feeling less desirable, and once your skin became lighter, it opened up opportunities and doors for you. I think that's what this conversation needs to focus on.
Yes.
Of just actually that is a very clear experience and example of colorism. It is real. It happens.
When you're lighter, people treat you differently.
That's why I think this conversation really needs to center on why is it societally that being lighter skinned has very clear material advantages of both beauty, desirability, romantic relationships, socioeconomic opportunities. This is real.
Who here has had pressure from their mother or their family? Or
should I be mad because I never got the chance to make it into the NBA? Should the NBA be required in order to draft certain people that's above or that's below 5'6", or not 5'6", I'm 5'7". Let's just say 5'9". Should the NBA be required to draft people below a certain height in order to make sure that we all are individual? We already don't even like women's WNBA basketball. We hate the fact that it's subsidized by the NBA in order for them to force that on us, in order to watch all of them bulls. Well, let me be quiet. In order to force all of them girly boys to be dribbling the basketball. Can't dunk. Edges is all sweated out. Ain't got no makeup on, looking like a bunch of boys out there dribbling the basketball. I'm straight.
Or have heard those messages from within the household about colorism, and who wants to share that experience?
So I think one of the experiences of colorism that has stuck with me, and I know that like my mother, of course, like she said this offhandedly, but you know, as a child, like that's something that's rooted in you. But I remember one time and she was just like, you don't need to marry somebody that's like your shade or darker, like your kids are gonna come out too dark. And I just remember being like, damn, like is there something wrong with me?
Moving here after 9/11, there was a huge push, I think, in the Middle Eastern community to look as white as possible. So it wasn't necessarily that it was the beauty standard, but rather a way to not get hate crimed or to kind of stay under the radar. And so my mom would tell me things like, tell people you're Russian and things like that. So kind of like keeping a proximity to whiteness was seen as a safer idea.
For me, in my family dynamic, it didn't come down to skin as so much as hair politics. So my hair, when I was a child, was very thick and straight, like a tapestry
Did she say hair politics? Jesus Christ.
of hair. And then it got curly with puberty. And as my hair got curly, my mom, without discussion, stepped in with the executive decision that we would be straightening my hair. There was an assessment made on me as a child and then as a younger woman of like, oh, like you're almost there. Like if we can control your hair, if we can get your hair a certain texture, you could be mistaken for white. And that reflects well on us.
Anybody else want to share their experience of colorism from their families?
When I was younger, my little brothers were much like lighter than me. So I think at a very early age, I understood that society ascribed like lightness to like femininity and like darkness to masculinity. I think a lot of what I struggled with when I was younger was like blaming myself and like not like being confused as to why I was being treated differently. So when I was old enough to understand what colorism was and how many systems are at play and that it really has nothing to do with me and everything to do with how people like are conditioned, I think it was liberating for me. That really helped me start thinking of myself as beautiful.
For me, many would probably assume that my parent like pushed it on me, but it's definitely the opposite. Like my mom, she always tells me that I'm beautiful. Like even when I was darker, like she always told me I was beautiful. She never said I had to use cream or use anything to lighten my skin. I just got influenced by the media, honestly.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. My mom, she really embraced my hair, told me it was beautiful, and
See the problem? Y'all see the problem? Let me rewind it for you, and then I'm going to see if you can identify the problem.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. My mom, she really...
He said it. My mom. My mom. My mom. His mother is the reason why he is what he is. His mother is the reason why he is what he is. Let me do one more Umar Johnson impression. His mother is the reason why he is what he is. Strong possibility this man would not be whatever it is that he is today, because who knows what he identify as, if he would have had a strong father in his life to guide him and give him real structure and help him to understand what a man is supposed to be. His mom built him into being the person that he is today.
Embraced my hair, told me it was beautiful, and encouraged me to grow it. But I just remember watching like TV, Disney Channel, and all of these things and asking, why can't my hair look like that? Why can't it be straight? So for me, it's the same. I saw more through the media, but I was still
watching TV, Disney Channel. Do not tell me that the media companies that we embrace, that you embrace, that you love so much, that you continue to say, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. What do you care? How are you affected by it? Well, he's literally giving you an example. He's showing you the media companies influenced him and how it is that he sees life, and that's playing a huge role in how it is that he's operating in his life today. His mother, Disney Channel, watching TV, influenced by social media. Now he's whatever. I don't even know what he is, man. Every single thing that we do, we're influenced by and we're taught, which then influences how it is that we're going to operate on a daily basis and how we're going to be influenced by other people.
Still getting that support from my family, that, you know, that encouragement.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I think, you know, what's permeating for me is like information and accessibility to that. I grew up in the Bronx. So like people are around people that look like them for almost their whole lives. And so it's like so embedded that way. It's so embedded, like they stay in the projects forever. And, you know, I managed to leave. Like I went out of the hood to get an education and, you know, and I already didn't look like them because of my fair skin. I'll go back and I've been having these conversations, these kind of like esoteric seeming conversations that people that I grew up with have never had before.
I think that's interesting. I'm sorry, I gotta be the odd man out again, I guess. What I'm hearing is that because you had a different experience, you think that the people who stayed home, because people do stay home, they don't leave their hometowns, you think that they've been held back because of their race?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. No, that's not what I said. Racial experience will change depending on where you're located, I think, is all I'm saying. And so people might not have as much of an awareness of how they are different from others if they're in a homogeneous environment. So it isn't until they experience something different and are in an environment of diversity and of different experience that they see, oh, wait, maybe I am of marginalized experience. And then they bring that back.
You can't say, wait, maybe I am of marginalized experiences if you've never had a marginalized experience until somebody told you that you was marginalized. She literally just substantiated his argument without him even having to say much. You can't say that somebody told you that you was marginalized, and that's not why you feel like you're marginalized, because then they start to make you a victim. That man is smart. Fish shirt, insect shirt is smart. Insect shirt is turning these women inside out and they don't even know it.
And, they can try and pretend like they never saw that, but, and try and integrate back into their home life, but that's impossible. You can't unsee it.
So we've talked a lot about some of the systems that contribute to colorism, but let's talk about the media and the cultural aspect.
I noticed there's an oversaturation of lighter skinned biracial women who are sort of meant to be the representatives of blackness on TV. I also think representation definitely can't fix everything, right? But I think seeing more dark skinned women in the media, like Lupita Nyong'o, who's just gorgeous, I was like, well, if she's beautiful, it's why do I think dark skin is ugly? And I think it becomes frustrating when you feel like you constantly have to wait for representation. Everyone will get representation before you.
And even when we are presented, we're presented as ghetto and loud and we're not meant to be in a relationship. We always stress our partner out. We're annoying.
Facts. That's not a stereotype. That's real life, baby girl.
We complain a lot, and it just sucks. Like I was saying, it does do something to your head. And I personally feel like Black women are at the bottom of the barrel. Nobody wants Black women. Nobody desires Black women. They basically think we're trash, and that gets to your head, especially when you have a whole bunch of even celebrities, Black men, wanting to be with white women or lighter skinned women. It makes you feel like you're just not wanted, and it makes you feel like you want to join.
Ironically enough, what she doesn't understand is that the people that created the MGTOW movement, the men going their own way, the people that created the red pill, they weren't Black men. And this is why you got to get out of your echo chamber, because it doesn't matter what you think. The only thing that matters is the truth. The fact of the matter is, it's not even about just Black women. It's about Western culture, right? Guys are. Let me say this, and we're gonna wrap this up here. Let me say this, right? If you go to any event, right? If you go to a charity preview, you go to a basketball game and you sit on the floor, if you go to a dinner, right? Look around you. They all look like that. They all look like bad versions of the Kardashians. They all are built like ants. No matter how far up on the ladder they are, as a matter of fact, the higher you go up on the ladder, the more they start to be built like ants. They all got BBLs. Their lips are bad. I've never seen so many women from all walks of life, white, Black, Latino, Arabic, Chaldean, so on and so forth. They all have butterfly eyelashes. They all are trying to look like a Kardashian. They all get BBLs that are all botched. And they are with some of the highest men and some of the lowest men. And it's just all the same. It's all the same. They all have, their heads look like this. Their eyes look like this the older that they get. Because they all got, what's that inserting stuff that they get in their head and their eyes and stuff like that make their skin tighter? They all look like they faces just look plastic. All of them. I don't even want to mention it. Why not? They in the same boat as everybody else. I seen Gosh. No smoke whatsoever. Let me preface this by saying no smoke whatsoever. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. Botox. They all got Botox. That's correct. I seen Dr. Phil's wife in person, right? Y'all know how old Dr. Phil and his wife is. She up there driving a red Ferrari. He driving a black Mulsanne, so on and so forth. It's a lot of work done there. It's a lot of, and it's noticeable. It's not unnoticeable. It's a lot of noticeable work done there. It's a lot. And guess what? There's going to be more. There's going to be more. It's going to be a lot more. The cheaper that we make it, the more available it becomes, the more it's going to be. Real talk. It's just the truth. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in on this morning on the Millionaire Morning Show. We're going to continue to do what we do on a regular basis. I am about to jump on my skates, which I already got on. I'm about to roller skate up and down the hallways. I'm about to drop some more videos for y'all. I got some heat for y'all. Thank you again for tuning into the Millionaire Morning Show. This is the best morning show on the face of the earth, bar none. No TV show, no internet show, no streaming show is ever better than what it is that we do here on the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you need to kick it with me personally, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com and we're going to get you set up for a personal call or a Zoom call. I do not do business in the Instagram DMs. I do not do business on TikTok. If you see a fake account, make sure you flag it. First screenshot it and let me know that it's a fake account. Flag it, send it to me, and we're going to get it removed ASAP. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me read the super chats and see what's popping out here in these streets. Voice of Reason, I appreciate you for the 10 ball for holding me down. I really do love my people that continue to support the show. Spaces says diabetes and high blood pressure aren't nearly as hereditary as the recipes that cause them are. Obesity and unhealthiness are results of choices. You are 100%. No, they say it running your blood, right? Brock with the $5 for the Pass the Love offering. I appreciate you. Thank you, Brock. Shout out to my people from the United Kingdom in the UK. Says, what up, Anton? Shout out from the UK. Do I got to do a meetup in the UK? I know Rita and I plan on hitting Tokyo this year. We strongly considered Dubai, but I'm certainly going to Paris this year also. But shout out to my people. Shout out to Niniola. I appreciate you for the love and the support and holding me down. Absolutely. Listen. You are exactly what you're supposed to be as a result of God made you. The thing that you should be working on is the things that you can control. We can always become better versions of ourselves as far as our fitness. We can always make sure that we smell good. We can always become more educated and make sure that we're communicating effectively. And we can always impact how it is that we're living our life by making better strategic decisions in order not to do things that then affect us to impress people that don't even care anything about us. But you know who do care about you? Me. And you know who your tribe is? The Bag Chasers. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then last but not least, make sure y'all get that Alpha Juice company. The discount codes is in the description. Don't order the Alpha Juice until you put the discount code in. This is breakfast for me. All right? I love it. I love you. I appreciate you. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. I think that you guys are the best ever. Shout out to Rock with a Beano. Says, I saw you on Dr. Phil. Shout out to Rock with a Beano. Thank you for holding me down and checking me out on Dr. Phil. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all, as Azriel says, have an amazing day, Bag Chasers. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.